Ladies and gents, sorry I'm a little bit late. I had on my schedule for Substack to be live by 4:45 and it's 4:55. Just want to say real quick, this recorded video is going to go out after this to all of my other platforms. Okay, let me do a quick sound check, make sure we're good there. Let me know if this is too loud. All right. Um, yeah, give me 1 second to make sure everything's right technically. Just a moment here. Thanks for hanging with me, guys. This is fully live. Oh, all right. Yep, I see it, and it sounds pretty good. Okay, guys, thanks for joining. I've got a few big announcements for Jslayusa. All right, these are personal to me, and I really appreciate you tuning in. So last week, and I would say that really the last 2 weeks are some firsts for me. Number one, I lost. This is the bad news. I lost more followers and I lost more paid subscribers on my Substack than ever before in the last 2 weeks. All right. The good news, take that number of losses, double it. That's how many paid subscribers and new followers that I gained. Okay. So overall, it was a huge win. And I don't get to know when somebody unsubscribes. Mostly they just put user preference. They don't really give me a reason. So I imagine that it's just they got sick of that content. But at the same time, again, double that number subscribed with a paid subscription. So thank you very much. Very, very heartfelt. Thank you for that, because I kicked this thing off. I'm finally making some money, a little. Okay. I've got another full-time job that I'm trying to manage. And when I started this in 2022, it has been a battle against distraction. All right. And I'm sure you guys can understand that, because if you're getting into news and culture, there's a new story every single day that you can go down a rabbit trail on. And if you're not going to be in the news and, get hired by somebody, I remember trying to get hired for a little while. I was thinking about Daily Wire. Can you believe it? Turning Point. I was helping to, I was a investor and funder. What do you call it? I was a donor for Turning Point and for PragerU. A good amount of money there for a while, going on trips to meet those people, everything, because I thought that was the direction of truth and all that. And again, in the left-right paradigm, sure, I'll go with the right 95 to 98% of the time on what's closer to the truth. But that's not the reason for this video. The first reason is to say thank you. The second reason is 2026 for me is going to be a year of consistency where you guys know what to expect. And especially you guys on Substack who are paid subscribers. And here's why. Twice a week, I'm going to be releasing a new show. There'll be a midweek show, probably Tuesday or Wednesday. And then there's going to be a weekend show as well. All right. Weekend could be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I haven't nailed down the days yet, but you're going to get 2 shows a week. And for those on Substack, you're going to get the full show. Many times you will get a Q&A, or you will get something from either my guest or myself that is a bonus on top of the show. All right. And it's going to be great content, just like the old stuff. A lot of you guys love the old deep dive that I did called the Hebrew Talisman. And I still think after 2 years, it really stands up because it's history that you really can't disprove because it's there. Okay. And only on Substack can you watch the full Hebrew Talisman with all the show notes. So things like that. After I post those things on Substack, they'll go out to YouTube and to Rumble and the other places. And one reason it was tough for me for so many years to find my legs was, I joined this fight for truth and freedom and all this stuff right in the smack center of the COVID mandates. All right. And I was bringing doctors on my show and all this. I got canceled more times than I can count. Between canceling, shadow banned, I had to start 3 new channels on YouTube until I just gave up on YouTube for 2 years. They're finally opening the floodgates back up for a little bit more free speech. But anyhow, this week, I want to tell you about what's coming this week. I think you'll find this very exciting. JD Hall will be my guest tomorrow. It's going to be a live show tomorrow at, I believe it is at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. on Substack. We're going to be live. Okay. Obviously the replay will be available, but for my paid subscribers, you'll get the full show. you'll get the extra content, which tomorrow I'd like to do a Q&A with my audience that's live. And then maybe I'll find something else, another perk or bonus for the paid subscribers. If you're a standard subscriber, unpaid, you'll get either the whole show or the majority of the show. It'll probably be back and forth where subscribers will get an entire show fully. And then the next one, you'll get half of it if you're not a paid subscriber. So I've got JD Hall, who has Insight to Insight here on Substack. He was the founder of Protestia. I think it's Pulpit and Pen. But he recently came out with a series of articles that started with one called Shepherds for Shekels, exposing the right wing, the evangelical church, how they benefit and take money and get perks and endorsements, and really they get access through, and sometimes it is direct payment, but they really get access if they promote, defend a certain eschatology that puts Israel basically at the center of their theology. I was listening to a Jack Hibbs sermon with Amir Sarfati today, where they said the most important thing, they had already mentioned various things. They said, if you get Israel wrong, you'll get your salvation wrong. And then they said, you'll get all these things wrong. And then Amir Sarfati brought up eschatology. And Jack Hibbs jumped in and said, I'm hoping this was a mistake, but he said, the biblical prophecy about the future is the most important thing about your faith. And that's after they'd already mentioned salvation. I think it's salvation. I think it's Jesus Christ. Prophecy, I think, is an open-handed issue. I think it's very difficult to understand and people can get it wrong. But he is one who is on the list of people that are getting major perks and bonuses and sort of a, what is it called? You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, sort of a benefit with Israel. So that is tomorrow. We're going to do a deep dive on Shepherds for Shekels. You can check out that article now. Highly encourage you read it. I'll put that link in my show notes for this. Okay. After that, I've got Carrie Prejean. Okay. She's former Miss California and I believe Miss USA. She was named to Donald Trump's National Faith Advisory Board, along with all these other evangelicals. She is the only one that is not a pro-Zionist. It doesn't mean she's against the people of Israel. What it means is she's not pro the Greater Israel Project. She's not pro sending our billions of tax dollars over there. And she's not pro genocide. She'll call it out for what it is. They've already, behind closed doors to her, asked her to step down. Now, it wasn't Trump that asked her to step down because she and Trump had been friends in the past. That's why he invited her to be a part of that council. But she's been told in so many words directly, you need to quit. And she said no, and her voice has got even louder. You can follow Carrie Prejean on, I follow her on Instagram. She's very much like me in point of view. She's one of those who just decided they're so off in the Protestant evangelical circles on this issue that she became a Catholic due to this issue. Now, I know many of you may have an issue with that. I respect her a whole lot. Just hear her out. And the big thing with her is she's going to be doing it's going to be televised and on whitehouse.gov and on other things. There's an anti-Semitism council that's coming up where it's going to have all the usual players, Mike Huckabee and Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio and Paula White. And it's all of them and her. And she's got a very, very different idea and truth about what's going on over there and what she thinks the solutions need to be. And if she thinks there even needs to be a council on anti-Semitism. And really it's going to be about censorship of free speech and things like that. So that will be this weekend. Even though I'm going to be interviewing her before that, I'm going to run it live and then I'll come on at the end of that and do a Q&A. So that's two things that I want you to understand that's coming up. Every week you'll get 2 shows from me. In the background, I will be working on articles. My next thing is going to be that the big project is going to be the film on Cyrus Schofield and his impact on the American church and who he was. Who was Cyrus Schofield? I've written an article, very comprehensive on this topic already, and this turns that into video form. That'll be coming out in the near future. And as always, I'll be writing articles in the background. So expect that. My Substack subscribers, Thank you very much. My Substack paying subscribers, highly thankful for you, because just for a long time, it has been so easy to become distracted because not only, I've got another job, I've got kids, I've got the whole, gamut of things like we all do. But on top of that, I'm pretty ADD. So it's easy for me to go down this way or go down that way. But when you start saying, Jeremy, we like your content enough that we're going to pay for it, we're actually going to take from our wallet and help you out, that focuses me. And what you've said so far by the way things have gone on Substack is you care about this issue with Israel. You care about Christian theology. Not that I won't hit on other topics, because it's, really, I wish there were other big, major topics to talk about, and there are. But in my opinion, this is the biggie. This is the biggie that America faces. And this is the one that so many politicians that I had respect for and pastors that I had great respect for, I believe, have either taken the bait, been blackmailed, or proven where their loyalties lie. And it's not with the United States of America. So I think it's the only game in town when it comes to what's really, really controlling the deep state or globalism or whatever you want to call it. And it takes a while to wrap your heads around that and figure it out. And the biggest pastors in the country are buckling down. They're doubling and tripling down on their message and their theology. They're not answering our questions, but they're saying, don't listen to those podcasters. Don't listen to voices that aren't like ours. And I highly recommend you guys go listen to the most recent sermon with Amir Sarfati from Jack Hibbs, because I think you can look sentence by sentence at what is said when he says there's never a place in the Bible where it talks about the church becoming Israel. There's no place in the whole Bible. I think you can debunk that quickly. Okay. Yana Benoon is going to be writing a series of articles, and she asked me to potentially help with that. So I'd be happy to do that. She's going to be writing a series of articles debunking them point by point. And she just wrote one, which I'll link this in the description as well. The first one is when they bring up the Greater Israel Project and how they don't call it that, obviously, or they might, but they bring it up as a great thing. And they put the map on the screen, the political boundaries and how that's going to happen, and what they're doing is searing the consciences, because there's one way it's going to happen if Jesus Christ doesn't come back and do it himself. And that is through war, through the same thing we've seen. And they'll find reasons to do war. They'll find reasons. If you believe what I believe, I think that they create and fund the very reasons that they have to go to war and have to have our tax dollars. And I think the more you look into it, the more obvious that becomes. And I do not believe that pastors should hope that their audiences remain naive and only listening to one voice or their voice. Because if the other voices like mine are so wrong, they should tackle those arguments head on rather than not even look at them. Okay. And there's example after example after example of that happening. A great voice. I'm going to keep this to the point. So remember this. On my Substack, making sure this is still live here. On my Substack, you're going to get 2 shows a week. If you're a paid subscriber, you'll get the full shows. You'll get extra content, extra bonus stuff from me, okay? Because you deserve it, and I appreciate your support. If you're listening to this or watching this on YouTube, on Instagram, on Rumble, if you have enjoyed my content through the years, or you're a new subscriber, occasionally I'll do special things like on Instagram. I'll come on and do a live on there that may be nowhere else, but that's going to be more rare. If you'll come to my Substack and join and become a subscriber, you can do that at jslayusa.com. I will make sure that you get extra content in a consistent basis, and it will be my very best, because you, my paid subscribers, deserve it. And I really appreciate your support so much, because it is the thing right now that I need to keep this going. Because you know what those other influencers have? Massive corporations. They have Israel money. They got that Jewish money, and which is outstanding for them. The biggest banks in the world are bankrolling them, whether they're on the right or whether they're on the left. Okay. And independent creators that are not going to be bought. I am not going to be pushing products. I'm not going to be, I'm not going to be censoring myself on YouTube or other places. So I may get kicked off of those places again. Okay. But those are the things that you have to do. You've got to censor yourself. You've got to push products, or you've got to take money from the wrong kind of human pyramids that I don't want to take money from if you want to be successful, unless people like yourself, independent people, are saying, I like his voice. I like her voice. I like what he's doing. I appreciate that. And that's a message that needs to be heard thoughtfully and considered. That's how I'm going to make it. And that's how I'm going to stay consistent. So thank you guys for your support. I really appreciate it. And look tomorrow for me with JD Hall live on Substack at 10 a.m. with our Shepherds for Shekels special, where we're going to dig in to how these evangelical pastors and communities are benefiting from supporting Israel, and not benefiting theologically. I'm talking about financially and otherwise. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. I'll see you soon, and I really appreciate your support.